Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Yadav sir.
Good evening.
Sir, is Dr. Manasi Maheshwari. She will be moderating today's session.
Okay.
Welcome everybody to Global Communication Education Conclave. Today is the 19th day. This conclave has been initiated by Global Media Education Council, GMAC, the first of its global council that has been set up in India, comprising media educators, researchers, professionals, and policymakers. The idea of setting up GMAC was mooted by Professor Ujjal Chaudhary a few months ago. Then like-minded people joined hands, like Professor KG Suresh as president and Dr. US Pandey as vice president. Today, GMAC family has grown to more than 60 members. As vice president of GMAC, I have been part of this academic endeavor since the time this idea was mooted. I find myself lucky to be part of the galaxy of media educators in this forum. Global Communication Education Conclave, GCEC, is the first step of GMAC. Many more academic and professional endeavors are already in pipeline. In GCEC, we have reserved evenings for academic deliberations and enriching discourse with a global perspective. And all the 18 sessions which have happened till date have been the trendsetters. In today's session, I am fortunate to share the company of Professor Sajal Mukherjee, Director of APJ Institute of Mass Communication and the chair of this session. And then we have Professor J.S. Yadav with us, who is the former director of IIMC, a researcher of international repute and a great human being. We have decided to acknowledge his contribution and confer the Lifetime Achievement Award on him. The keynote address will be delivered by a professional friend, Dr. Hassan Mustafa, who is a distinguished media educator from Dubai. I must also make a mention of another colleague and friend, Mr. Bhaskar Majumdar, who is a seasoned corporate communication expert. I welcome all my distinguished colleagues in this session. My special assignment in this session is to introduce the moderator of the day, Dr. Manasi Maheshwari. She is a PR professional turned media faculty and researcher and is committed to the cause of media education. Dr. Manasi Maheshwari has over 12 years of teaching experience in journalism and mass communication. She did her doctorate from School of Journalism and New Media Studies, IGNU. Dr. Manasi Maheshwari has expertise in advertising, public relations, and media management. She has written more than 70 papers, I beg your pardon, 17 papers in reputed national and international journals. And she is working as associate professor in the Media School of Delhi Metropolitan Education. So I hereby hand over the rein to Dr. Manasi Maheshwari.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'm really honored to be moderator of this session where we have so many stalwarts sitting in front of me. I'm really glad I'm Good evening, one and all present here. I, Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, on behalf of Global Media Education Council, welcomes you all to the 11th episode of Global Communication Education Conclave. Global Communication Education Conclave 2021-22 spread over 75 days. This mega event will 5 years ever since India became independent. Talking about the number 75, the event will feature talks by 75 Indian stalwarts and 75 overseas reports and presentations by 150 young scholars. The theme of today's webinar is Redefining Research and Learning in Digital Age. G6 official partners are IMCR, Media and Entertainment Skill Council, and Makanlal Chaturvedi University. And today's session has been organized in collaboration with Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida. I once again extend my warm welcome to all the dignitaries, guests, participants, students to this mega media conclave. It is my proud privilege to introduce you all to the session chair for today's webinar, Professor Sajal Mukherjee. Professor Mukherjee is associated with advertising and media industry for more than 40 years, spearheading media functions in leading agencies, associated and worked as consultant to many leading media organizations. Won many industry-initiated media innovation awards and accolades for his work. During these years, worked with advertising agencies such as JWT, Mudra, Rediffusion, RK Swami, BBDO, Contract, Clarion, etc. In different capacity and as head of media business, he was responsible for planning and strategy development to implementation, media buying, media researchers, recruitment and training of media professionals. Also gained experience in client side as was Vice President Media for Emanmi Group Kolkata and Head of Media in RSPL Group. He helped to develop many brands for Nestle, Hero Group, GPI, IFP, Bosch, Adidas, PSI, ICI Paints, Oral-B, Maruti, to name a few of them. He is the pioneer of media innovations, winning most of the coveted awards for Nestle Polo, ICI Paints, and Oral-B. His list of achievement is long and exhaustive. He is voracious reader of Indian scriptures and religious texts and is avid spiritual practitioner. He has also taught as visiting faculty at reputed institutions, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, JP Business School, etc. At present, he is the director of AIMC, APJ Institute of Mass Communication, Delhi. I request Professor Sajal Mukherjee to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mansavi, for your introduction, kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be here at this evening amongst the distinguished guests, speakers, academicians who are going to conduct the session as well as who are attending the session. Thank you very much, Professor Amrish ji, for inviting me for today's session. So before we start, I like to put the context of today's discussions and deliberation. So to describe to make it more contextual and explain the situation today, where are we today? I would like to start with the quote from, or the way this has been explained, the situation being very well explained by Thomas L. Friedman in his book, The World is Flat. He says, the beginning of the 21st century will be remembered not for military conflict or political events, but for a whole new age of globalization, a flattening of the world. The explosion of advanced technology now means suddenly knowledge pools and resources has connected all over the planet, leveling the playing field as never before, so that each one of us is potentially an equal and competitor of the other. Technology has always been a game changer for the making of the modern India. Vibrant telecommunication and information technology change the landscape and strengthen countries' confidence and ambition to be in the ranks of economically advanced nation. It has got integrated in everyday life. It has changed the way people interact with each other and conduct business. Everything is available on our fingertips these days. It has made our life more accessible, hassle-free, easy availability, faster, and transcended the geographical boundaries. Digital media has made the globe smaller. Best example I can highlight is the Global Communication Education Conclave itself. We couldn't have thought of conducting such an event in earlier days, that 75 days of session having participation of eminent academician, expert, policymaker across the world at one platform. This has become possible just because of the technology that we have today. In this fast changing world, we need to understand how we are doing the media research and how we are educating people or learning what are the learnings. Now, if I start with the kind of the education platform itself, I would say that we are hitting another printing press moment. When I say the printing press moment, I mean the printing press came along, it broke the elite's grip on the essential of literacy and education and made the content available to broadly dispersed population. Today, the game is changing once again, thanks to the ongoing edutech revolution. National Education Policy, unveiled by the Ministry of HRD, is revolutionary in every sense. While the policy focuses on multiple aspects, including the need for early childhood care, inclusive education, and revamping of current curriculum, an inherent thread that runs through the policy is interplay of education and technology. We have on the subject uh, the chairman of AICT, our chief guest, Professor Anil D. Shehazbuddhi. I know he is traveling. Dr. Mansavi already informed me. So we hope that he would be joining in during the session. The other aspect that we have is the days of how media research helping in improving understanding mass media plays and in shaping people's preferences, shaping how they think about a situation, incident, product, or an idea. I would like to illustrate the point with an interesting example. We all know Netflix is the most successful paid internet TV services and poster child of the great media migration of time-shifted viewing around the world. In any business, the ability to see into the future is the killer app. And Netflix may be getting close with this everything. Now, when we watch a Netflix, it recommends, according to your preference, the next film that you want to see. It does a lot of data churning with the AI to identify the preferences and choices of the audience from the film, from its theme to its star. And House of Cards is the example by itself. For House of Cards, they have invested $100 million. And it is a successful story. The reason being, they selected the cast on the basis of the research they did, that who are the preferred choices of the audiences. And in January this year, if you look at the Golden Globe Awards, which is traditionally dominated by the broadcaster, made a way for the Netflix with Kevin Spacey winning the Best Actor award for House of Cards. Now, we are seeing that that big bets are now being informed by big data, and no one knows more about audiences than the Netflix. The other thing that I want to share is that the importance of media research in today's environment is immense. If I look at it, it divided the 4 main points. Gives useful information. We believe that media research helps you understand and determine new trends and get valuable insight into the field of mass media and communication, which further enables you to determine how you can reach out to more people within a short span of time. Second point, helps you frame news better. And these days we are seeing the news channels are using information like we want to give or share the news which the audience want. While narrating the story, they are also seeking responses from audiences, whether they are with it or they are not with it, whether they agree or they don't agree. So collection of information to analysis of it and sharing the result has become very fast these days. Third point is makes your story better and more accurate. If you look at television or the print media anywhere, you will find that they are doing a lot of data churning in developing or making their stories and amplifying it also. This has become a very important feature. In terms of advertising also, you will look at the people, the advertisers are seeking response from the audiences. The Amazon of the world are using the media research, the big data analysis to create what is going to be your buying basket, what product that you're going to buy, which brand you're going to buy. So there are immense things that is happening through the technology, and the research amalgamation helps you understand the audience profile, understanding their preferences or choice of content, timing, when they want to watch it, what kind of program. All informations are there, which is being collected and shared and analyzed faster. So this is the whole paradigm. And in this topic will be dealt by the Professor J.S. Yadav, an eminent researcher amongst us. So today's evening, we are going to have great speakers with us, which will enlighten our knowledge and make our knowledge better. With these words, I hand over the mic to Dr. Mansavi.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the stage right. And we all are really excited to hear from all the speakers. So as we proceed with the session, I would like to inform everyone present today that GMEC and GSEC, with the objective of acknowledging the contributions of media academicians, confer Lifetime Contribution Award to honor a special personality for his stellar contribution in the field of academics and media research. I request Professor Sajal Mukherjee to welcome the awardee and confer the award of the 19th day of the Global Communication Education Conclave, GSEC. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bansavi. You have given me a great task today. Professor Yadav, sir, I would like to confess one thing. Namaskar, sir. I would like to confess one thing. Today, during the day, I received so many calls from people just telling me कि सर को हमारा सलाम बोल देना, convey our best wishes to him, and they all said कि we were student of Professor Yadav, and amongst them was Professor Ashok Ogra was also there, who said कि सर मेरा सर ये मेरे गुरु थे, इनको मेरा नमस्कार जरूर बोलना. Then Sanjay Lal from Times of India called up, saying that कि सर को मेरा wish जरूर करना. So I am conveying their wish. Now I have to go through the formal introduction to you, sir. You are already well known for your contribution in the media world and the changing the lives of many people. So Professor Dr. J.S. Yadav has over 40 years of experience in communication and media research. I think 40 years has been put little less to make him more younger, but it is much more than that. In media research, training and consultancy, Dr. Yadav's research specialization include research, strategic communication, and behaviors change. Dr. Yadav was the director of Indian Institute of Mass Communication for 12 years. And for 18 years, he was also the professor in Indian Institute of Mass Communication. He coordinated over 150 research projects on media, health, development issues, and experience of coordinating large-scale national and international projects. Dr. Yadav has worked as a senior consultant in polio eradication program and has been conducting capacity building workshop for the print and electronic media professionals. He has been associated with Indian Association of Parliamentarian for Population and Development since 2014 as a technical resource person, where he has been planning and providing inputs for communication, population and development. Dr. Yadav provided consultancy services to reputed national and international organizations like USAID, Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, UNICEF, WHO, World Bank, and European Union. Please join hands to welcome Dr. Yadav. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I request sir to just say these, conferment of the award and technical team to play the virtual video before we hand over the exact award to him. But we just want to do a.
So today, Global Media Council confirms Lifetime Achievement Award to Professor J.S. Yadav for his immense contribution in media world. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, team. Congratulations to you, sir. And we are privileged to have us with today. I congratulate you for the award, and I request you to communication research. Over to you, Yadav, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
we
sir.
can.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Thank you very much, Manisha, Manishi Maheshwari, Amrish Saxena, Professor Sajal Mukherjee. I'm really honored to the organizers of Global Media Education Council for associating me with this and honoring me on this day. And there's no words to thank you all. It's so nice of you to remember, and so nice to know that so many students are also listening or seeing or wishing. Thanks everybody. Now, before I take up, let me start with the broad framework. The topic given to me is media research and learning in the era of digitalization. It's a very wide subject. Professor Sajal Mukherjee has already covered a lot of things which need to be covered in such a lecture, but I will be a little more narrow and focused. To begin with,
sir, if you are sharing the screen, we are not able to see the screen properly. Can you just stop it and do it again if somebody is there to help you? You're not able to see the screen properly.
The slide has not opened up actually. The page is seen, but the slide has not opened up. Yes, sir. I mean, you need to click it properly so that it opens up. The cursor is there.
Can we just stop sharing screen and do it again? When you have that file open in front of you, then you can start share, and then you can just click on that PowerPoint wala file and then it will open.
Technology.
Yeah. No, the page is opening up, but the file is not there.
Sir, if I can add, if you can, put the draft in your desktop and then start screen sharing and then click on the presentation, that will be better.
सर बंद करके कर या दो है इसलिए तो प्रॉब्लम है।
सर एक बार बंद कर दीजिए शेयर स्क्रीन, और जब आपका पीपीटी खुला हुआ हो ना तब दोबारा से स्टार्ट करिए स्टार्ट शेयर। पीपीटी ओपन होना चाहिए और आप स्टार्ट शेयर जब करेंगे तो वहां पे बना आ जाएगा पीपीटी, आपका फाइल दिखने लगेगा वहां पे, जो भी फाइल ओपन होंगे वो दिखने लगेंगे, जो भी सर की हेल्प कर रहे हैं।
अब आ रहा है?
दोबारा
नहीं,
स्टार्ट शेयर करना होगा, शेयर स्क्रीन दोबारा कीजिए, अभी ऑफ है। सर आप स्लाइड्स ओपन करके वहां से ऐसे भी बोल सकते हैं आप,
हाँ।
मतलब आप देख लेंगे और हमें एड्रेस करते रहिए तो भी हम लोग सुन लेंगे।
है ना?
yes, sir, screen share to हुआ. Yeah.
हाँ,
Open the file now.
राइट,
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it's done.
perfect.
यस
Now it's visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Absolutely, sir, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks everybody once again. I'm really honored. Now the topic is given to me is media research. But most of the points already have been covered by Sajal Mukherjee. Now I'm starting on a very broad perspective or a context, how communication and society are linked. Now, major point which I'm making is human beings are endowed with questioning mind. That's something great God has given to all of us, that we question, continuously keep questioning. Even a child questions right from the birth till the end of our life, we keep questioning. And when we ask questions and we get an answer from mother or from anybody, or teacher or friends or colleagues, we learn. Now that experience which we get, that's a learning. We share that experience or that learning or knowledge with others. Now this sharing involves communication. Now in the process of this sharing the knowledge or experience based on our questioning minds, the groups are formed, society is formed, and social norms are set, that what to do, what values you have, and cultures develop. Now, other defining feature of human beings is acquiring things. Now, that's also a great thing. That's how the society is progressing and developing. Now, the dimension of communication is creativity and philosophical justification to make communication effective. We continuously striving to make communication more effective. Questioning leads to discoveries, innovations, progress, and development. Sharing of learning knowledge leads to enrichment and empowerment. That's how societies are. People are empowered. We are empowering children, we are empowering women, we are empowering adults, and that's how we are progressing and developing. Communication is central to all such transactions. There cannot be anything without communication in today's or any times, even earlier times, organized human society. Now, next point which I am trying to cover is how this communication can be looked. The study has gone for quite some time, means it started long back, means even before Christ. That's how we say. Actually, communication is as old as human race, but the communication as a subject of inquiry at philosophical level dates back only a few centuries before Christ. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, the three Greek philosophers are credited with the founders of Western philosophy or Western communication theories. Socrates' search for the truth, Plato's dialectics, mode of debate in research for the truth, Aristotle's rhetoric for persuasion that's influencing people are basic for understanding and expansion of Western communication theories and philosophy. Incremental inquiry and debate led to scientific innovations and greater participation of peoples in doing things or in governance in a broader sense. Now, that was the Western perspective. Now, there's a equally important is the what we call it Eastern perspective, or Eastern societies like India. The process of inquiry and debate was initially facilitated by asymmetrical social relations. We call it Shraddha, that's faith or religion, and belief in karma, that's action, leads to development, progress, civilization, growth. But subsequently, these very factors which facilitated great civilization development became hurdles in free inquiry and debate, leading to petrification and stagnancy. Against this, many reform movements by religious and social and political leaders emerged over centuries across the country. India's struggle for independence from the British rule witnessed many social reform movements. Mahatma Gandhi, father of the nation, one of the greatest communicators, used faith, culture, and action, all three, faith, culture, and action, and built a movement of common people against the British Empire. Next would be now communication. Communication and technological innovations. Now, this is really a very, very fast changing world. Along with philosophical and paradigm shift, there have been scientific and technological innovations to make communication more effective and impactful to reach and influence larger and the larger number of people. Now, how large? Now it's almost global. As pointed out earlier, it's instant, and the world is kind of not seconds, in the moment you speak, it goes around the world. That's the achievement. Human history can be looked from the communication perspective, development and growth of different media of communication. Now, one can think of cave paintings also, engravings, writings, paintings, photography, motion picture, and now we have what's called broadly digital media that are encoded, that is, messages are encoded in machines and readable format, making exponential reach and impact possible. Now that's what digital media has done. Now, digitalization of communication and media. Now, communication is an art of expressing ideas, emotions, and aesthetics so that other people understand you. Now, this is an art. This is an art of expressing not only information, ideas, emotions, and aesthetics. That's how artistically you are able to do it so that other people can understand you. And that's where the advertising people and other experts put in their work and people make it easy. In the age of digitalization, the way media reflects and represents reality made access and sharing of knowledge easy and extensive. Now with the smartphones, people you can reach in remote villages, in tribal areas, in any part of the India or any part of the world. Individuals today are not merely receivers. Now that's a great distinctive feature of the digital media, that individual today, earlier people were receivers of the message. Now today they are not only receivers, but they also creator of information and knowledge. Anyone is having a smartphone can create a message, send a message, and those messages now are becoming part of our wide circulation. This has far-reaching implications in terms of enrichment and empowerment of human societies and culture. Now, broadly, we call this as one of the area is we call it a social media. It's a generic term and refers to the means of interaction among people in which they create, share, and exchange information and idea in virtual communities and networks. It is about conversation, community, connecting with audience, and building relationship. Now, such is the broad area of social media. Now, some of the popular platforms are blog, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp. Now, all we are familiar with these words, these platforms, and we are all using this. Now, I put a little more details on the WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a common and pervasive free messaging. Now, the greatness about it, it's a free. We keep on sharing messages without any cost per se, available on smartphones. Now, one estimate says over 300 million Indians are now using WhatsApp, making it a battlefield for contesting ideas, vision of community, society, nation, and world. Now, during this COVID-19, the amount of WhatsApp exchange between people has been enormous. Take any area, whether it's a film or song or meditation or Gharelu Dawayam is, take anything, all kind of suggestions come, and it's really very difficult what is right, what is wrong. It's a battlefield for all kind of contesting ideas. WhatsApp has become a major platform for political parties and ideologic also in democratic society. But unverified information users, toxic information also being served as conduit for fake news. And we all are now familiar with, some people have done lots of research, even PhD in IGNU on fake news. Some are still doing it. So as to manage, now what role these called news, which are nobody's sure about whether it's a fake or it's true, but they all help in managing perception and influencing voters' choice. Now, politics is one area, but it influences perceptions and choices about everything. Whatever you look at it, whatever you do, whatever action you take, it influences your perception and it influences your action. Now, research, it puts, when you have so many creator of messages and so many receiver of messages, it's a really challenge for the media scholars to do research. And so much is a vast area that one can do research on any of these so-called new media. Who are accessing, who is using it, what for they're using it, what impact or effect they are having. Means we are concerned all children are all the time on their mobiles. And sometimes we become very concerned what they are doing all the time, holding the smartphone and watching. What they are watching, it's a concern. It has medical implication, it has a psychological implication, it has action implication, it has whole growth of how children will grow, will be affected. So these are some of the areas. Now, with massive expansion of communication and media field, scope of undertaking scientific research is enormous. Some of research could be as follows. Now, reach and impact of media, especially of new media. Now, this is a huge area. Blog or WhatsApp or YouTube, who are accessing it and what use they are making it. Second area, reach and impact is one area. Second area could be conceptual and theoretical understanding of communication processes. Now it's when access is so much, now what kind of conceptual and theoretical understanding of communication, both from Western and Eastern perspective. Western, we all are quite familiar. The Eastern perspective is less known, means I call it a Sadharnikara. I had done some work on this, and some others also have done it and are still doing research on Sadharnikara. That is, in terms Suchana, that is simplification of information. And it's easily said simplification of information or ideas, but it's very difficult how simplification to what level. It's a simplification level to who is your receiver. Now, when we talk about simplification, there are lots of questions come. Now, basic research area could be strategic use of media. That's where I put a lot of emphasis, how to make strategic use of media, because it's now available to so many people and so many resources are being put. But still, these are not unlimited resources. One has to make very strategic use of media to make it cost effective, timely, and in right direction. Now, step could be, and I'm listing a couple of steps, how strategic use of media can be done. That we start with research, evidence-based situation analysis. I put it situation analysis in single comma. Now, it's a very covers very well. Whatever the situation that you want to use communication for, do it situation analysis, and then do scientific research could be undertaken to find that helps in making most cost-effective use of communication media resources in different fields. Now, some fields I've listed, but there could be more also. Now, health is one area which needs our attention, particularly in context of pandemic Corona-19 and its newer variants. Now, lots of research by lots of people with different backgrounds is being done. Second area is agriculture. Now, in the context of farmer agitation, again, lots of questions are there that what aspects you are focusing on. You can do research, means from the farmer's point of view, from the trader's point of view, from the consumer's point of view. And another is management. That is, in all this, there is an infrastructure and logistic issues. Now, this is also needs attention, and people are doing research in infrastructure and logistics. Another area is education. in the context of COVID-19 and lockdown, children not able to go to schools and play outside. It has a lot of implications. What you can study and what you really learn, share, and improve. One more to my mind is orientation, advocacy, and skill development of a whole lot of people, that is particularly service providers, managers, and leaders in all fields, including politics. So researches can be done by situation analysis, then say what you are trying to achieve, focus on that target, focus on your audience, and then use whatever area suits you to make it really possible orientation, advocacy, or skill development of service providers, managers, and leaders. I will sum up by saying empowering people by sharing information and knowledge through digitalized media are increasingly becoming common across many sectors and fields. I listed some fields, but it's almost on all sectors and all fields. This is what is happening. So communication and society is a vast canvas. One can do research on any aspect of communication and media. There's a huge challenge for the communication and media scholars, both young and old, senior or junior, all can and are doing research. There's so much to do for media persons or communication persons to enrich, to understand the society, understand its question, find solutions, and provide directions to the change and contribute to the growth, contribute to the making a big contribution to the empowering and developing the nation as a whole. I think with these words, that's all what I have to say. Thank you for your kind attention. Thanks for being patient with me. Hope these slides, you have got it and you are able to follow it up. Thanks for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. You made it really easy and simple for the students to understand how research has been redefined in the digital age. You actually are an inspiration for all of us. And once again, you have exemplified how adaptable, committed, and dedicated a teacher should be. Despite of your ill health and technical glitches, you made it possible. And I, on behalf of GSEC, express my gratitude to you. Thank you so much, sir. We are really, really obliged that you gave us your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Moving ahead, GMEC and GSEC's motto is to act as a bridge among the three stakeholders, media educators, learners, and the industry. In the same regard, we invite industry experts to interact and share their views on industry-specific topic. Today, we have amongst us Mr. Bhaskar Majumdar, Head Corporate Affairs, Communications, CSR, and Digital at Aegis. Yes, thank you. He is a multifaceted brand management expert who has led reputation management for leading international and Indian brands, a strategic planner with more than 2 decades of experience in managing multiple projects and campaigns under tight deadlines spread across geographies and time zones. Ability to understand business objectives, map out relevant target audience, and planning strategic communication campaigns, which fits the business objectives. Experience in working with global marketing and brand communication, digital and CSR teams on global projects. Mr. Majumdar has worked with Reliance Industries as General Manager, Corporate Communication, ESPN Star Sports as Manager, Corporate Communication, and has also worked with reputed communication agencies like APCO Worldwide, Genesis PR, CMCG, Vaishnavi Corporate Communications, and Ad Factors PR. He has been awarded with the Top 100 Influential Game Changers List 2020 PR and Corpcom 4M, Top 20 Digital Creators Award 2021 by Clan Connect and PR Moment, Silver Award for Execute with Excellence campaign by Agency Reporter Stakes, Corporate Communications Persons of the Year Award 2021 by adgully.com. Sir has been visiting faculty at Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Symbiosis School of Media and Communication, Institute of Management Studies, Amity School of Communication, and many more to the list. So we have him today, and he will be sharing his presentation on changing role of corporate communication and emerging new skill sets for professional. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks a lot, Dr. Manspreet, for the awesome introduction. And I'm thankful to Professor Saxena that he has given me the opportunity to come over here and share my thoughts. It's been a pleasure to listen to Mr. Professor Mukherjee and Yadav sir on their thoughts. I mean, I don't know how much I can contribute, but whatever I can, I've just tried to sum up whatever I've learned, because whatever I'm going to present is not something which is bookish. It is more of what I've picked it up in the last 2 years of COVID time. Now, I've been in the profession for almost 22 years. I think last 2 years have been the most enriching one, because the way the pattern of work in communication has completely changed. So not taking too much of time, I'll just present the presentation. I hope the presentation is visible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So as I said, in a post-COVID era, I don't know if it's post-COVID or not, but from pre-COVID and COVID era, the skill sets or the role of a corporate communication professional has completely changed. When I say communication professional, it can be a journalist also, it can be a PR professional, it can be advertising. I think all these three different verticals actually comes under the broader umbrella of communication, because all these three function is trying to communicate some kind of messaging to the stakeholders. So as I said, COVID has fast forwarded the adaptation of digital transformation in a real sense. I mean, 3 to 4 years back, as professionals, we always used to hear that, virtual meetings will happen, or virtual sessions will happen, work from home will actually happen. But I think during COVID time, unfortunately or fortunately for the industry, this has become more of a reality. Like I cannot say that I am an old professional, because there are a lot more seniors over here. But again, in my 22 years of experience, I was more accustomed of having meetings which is face to face. A human angle was always required to have a finer point of discussion to happen. But unfortunately, with COVID, we have stuck to digital form of communication. And I think it saves time. It gives you the access to reach out to people beyond geographical sphere or beyond timelines. So COVID has transformed the PR industry, and we have actually come into a environment where digital transformation is actually happening because of two simple things. One, the consumption of news or information has become completely digital. Because of the lockdown, the vendors were not been able to give print copies to everyone. So people like me who is in this profession for last 22 years, I always believe to start my day with a cup of coffee and 8 newspapers. But unfortunately, during the lockdown time, the print newspapers were not there, and I had to shift to the digital format. Although now the print is available, but now I have made a combination of both print as well as the digital format, because print media, especially with a newspaper like Economic Times or Times of India, early morning you get it, and then it can carry as much news as it can. But in the digital format, it's 24 hours, right? And also there is another very good or positive side of social media, which is during this lockdown time and this COVID time, I've seen this social media platforms which has turned completely a new kind of helpline for people seeking for either information about medicine or advice from the doctor, or maybe availability of oxygen. And in my earlier, say 2 to 3 years back, I always used to think that social media is not something which is necessary for our daily routine. But during this COVID time and lockdown, I see the positive usage of social media for a greater cause. The industry has gone through a radical shift because of certain things. One, availability of data, be it Geo, be it Airtel, be it Idea. The availability of data is there. Analytics are available. Wider range of internet penetration, like Yadav sir has said, that tier 2, tier 3 cities. Maybe 8 to 10 years back, they used to have landline and maybe one mobile. Now every household at least have one. Like it's more like a newspaper that, the readership of newspaper X, but when it reaches to someone's house, the circulation is X, and when it reaches to someone's house, the readership increases. Similarly, like in tier 2, tier 3 cities, a family of 5 may have one mobile, but the usability of that particular handset is by multiple people. Like now, all of a sudden, with this sudden changes, which I'm sure was going to happen maybe by 24, 25, but it happened in a very rapid way. And that is where the communication industry has seen a dynamic change. In earlier times, whenever there is to be any kind of campaign which is to be devised, the campaign is to be very heavy on traditional part. Traditional part is to be almost 60 to 70, and 30 to 40% is to be digital or social. But unfortunately, during COVID time, a lot of companies were in financial stress, and also the reaching out to various stakeholders were very difficult. So I think in today's new world or new normal, whenever there is any campaign which has been devised either by advertising guys or by PR professionals, the mix of social digital as well as traditional is almost 50-50%. Although it depends from brand to brand, service to service. Obviously a B2B company and a B2C company have a completely separate stakeholders, and reaching out to their stakeholders from the companies or brands perspective will be very different in terms of channelizing. With digital media and social media increasingly becoming a de facto choice for content consumers, there is a paradigm shift of the role of PR professionals or corporate communication professionals and other communication experts. And slowly it is moving towards strategy-centric approach and omni-channel integrated one. All the kind of different tools are getting integrated in one particular channel. But as I said, that it depends on different brands, services, products, because it also depends on what kind of campaign focus you have. But largely, I've seen that digital or the social uh, pie of a campaign focus it has increased from the earlier time. Also, digital medium is more real time, instant. It's more engaging. It can be creatively adopted also. I still remember 7 to 8 years back, whenever we used to pitch a story to a particular publication house, and if your story was compelling enough, if your strategic narrative was something which the journalist was interested to, and even the editor was interested that this kind of story will be beneficial or my readers will be happy, it is to get into a print mode. And in print newspaper, there is very limitations. Apart from the news, you can have max to max. You can have the logo or maybe a graph or maybe a photograph. But when you're publishing or getting into any kind of outreach which is social in nature or digital nature, creativity actually takes the larger pie of it. In any kind of digital outreach, it can be a small video, it can be a 30-second or 40-second or 1 minute video, it can be a podcast, it can be a Twitter chat, it can be a small creative using different hashtags or different titles. So in terms of creativity, I think social media and digital media is much more ahead than the traditional media. So as I said, the emergence of social media and digital transformation has changed the entire landscape, especially public relations. Uh, like LinkedIn and Twitter, I handle the digital platforms for my brand Aegis, and I've seen in last 1 year time that these short videos actually work wonders because work wonders compared to the normal text. It's more engaging. The outreach is more, amplification is more, and that is where I think as young professionals or professionals who are in the business, there is a need for us as professionals to understand how creatively you can set the messaging down. Hence, creative way of thinking for outreach and creating videos has become an added care for all communication professionals. And I think the second most important thing for the new normal or new age professionals is new age content creation. So new age content creation is not something which is very simple, and it's rocket science. Like in earlier times, we used to draft a 700, 800 word author article for a client or a spokesperson depending on what kind of media platform you're targeting. If it's a print media, say Times of India, Hindustan Times, it will say 700, 800. If you're targeting for a business magazine like Business Today or India Today, it will be 1200 to 1500. So on the same lines, now the new age content creation is like, drafting a similar kind of author article, say about 700 to 800 words, but keeping in mind that this content can be broken down into a 400, 500 word blog, or maybe a 300 word, LinkedIn post, or maybe there can be multiple tweets made out of it. So that is what I call that new age content creation is all about, and that is something one has to learn if he has to be in the profession for a longer time. Also exploring new tools, like Facebook Live, Insta Live, podcast, Twitter chat. Twitter chat is something which I think is catching up very fast, and it's a very good medium to create some kind of positive environment or create awareness about a particular topic. So content and creativity is going to be key for communication going forward. And as someone has rightly said that creativity has always been the way out of crisis. So I think there is no way out of it. And if someone is creative enough, I think the other things fall in place. So change is only constant and the change is beneficial. And as professionals, we always have to adapt to the newer things. Social media is important because it allows you to reach, nurture, and engage with your target audience, no matter where they are from. So it's beyond geographies, it's beyond timelines. And I think Jadhav sir also spoke about the same lines. I'm just elaborating on that. In other traditional medium, reaching out to a larger audience was very difficult because of geographical lines and also because of the timelines. But nowadays, if you tweet something, someone sitting in New York can actually access it, and he can actually answer a second line. So it gives a professional or communicator to have a wider reach and also nurture relationship with people with whom you may not catch up in your professional life. So that gives you that width to connect, engage with the larger audience. As I said, short videos they work wonders, and there was a study by a US survey which says that the attention span for a normal human being, and I'm talking about youngster mostly, it's only 8 seconds. In Indian context, it will be 10 to 12 seconds. So your creative or your video has to be so compelling that the person who's consuming that information is glued onto it so that you can take him to the next stage. Side by side, you have to be carefully create the title so that it's very, it's not tacky, it's very catchy, it's very interesting for the younger generation to come. Also, hashtags are very important. Unless you have the right hashtags and if you're not tagging the right people, I think the uses of social media becomes very, I mean, it's very difficult to, reach out to the larger audience. Creating the strategic narrative or storytelling, this is like the, bread and butter for every PR professional. That remains the same irrespective of whatever the tools are. So social media and digital, I'll say it's another tool. So in principle, how communication as a professional, as a PR professional, I don't think it has changed because strategic narrative, storytelling, identifying the right target audience, what the right target messaging will be, at what time, what message has to go, what right platform you have to be. Those things remain the same. Just that the tools have changed, and because of these tools, the messaging may get customized. Also, the understanding of engagement analytics will give you a better view of how much engagement you have been able to do, what is the kind of reach you have been able to do. So in corporate communication, these are the basic things which used to be there earlier. Slowly the KRA is becoming more. First is earned media, which is largely print like TOI, Hindustan Times, Economic Times, online editions of the same print publication houses, third-party influencers, webinars, virtual event participation as knowledge partners. There are a lot of virtual events which are happening where there will be people from PwC, there will be people from KPMG, there will be people from CII. So these are more of knowledge partners getting associated with events to make it more knowledge sharing platform. Shared media is same. It's the brand's own social media handles like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube. Paid media is the new thing which is catching up very fast. That is KOL, bloggers, influencer, YouTubers. KOL are key opinion leaders. Now, for any PR professional, all of a sudden in last 2 years' time, it has become, the profession has become a blend of earned, paid, owned, and shared media. And the part of digital and social has become much more prominent than here. Now, a lot of these brands like mobile manufacturing brands and auto brands, uh, especially the bikes, they are relying more on this key opinion leaders or YouTubers to to reach out there to their stakeholders, which is generally the younger generation, and they don't give that much of focus to the print media as they used to earlier. It's more of like someone like technical Guruji is like someone who is like he's someone almost every youngster follows while buying a new mobile set. So that is the kind of reach or importance they have all of a sudden now. Also, in a post-COVID era, the other things which have been associated with corporate communication are multiple. Like internal communication used to be earlier there, but post-COVID era, I think business and anyone linked to business is important. And when I say anyone linked to business, the first priority is the employees. Then it can be vendors and the larger audience, or the family members of the employees. And it has become very important because unless you have a happy employer, the productivity of the company is going to get impacted. So internal communication has now become an integral part of corporate communication. Employee engagement has become an integral part of corporate communication. Digital social, as I said earlier, has become an integral part of corporate communication department. CSR. So in earlier times, the corporate communication department used to be more focused on communicating the CSR activities of the brand. But slowly in last 2 years of time, CSR has become an integral part of corporate communication. Of that corporate communication PR professional team actually, they plan it out, they make a budget, they think who are the people with whom we can actually, get associated with. So it's a combination of everything. Investor relation is something which is more to do with, listed firm. Public affairs and policy has become an integral part of corporate communication nowadays. Secondary research, brand audit. Brand audit is like, making audit by, say, AC Nielsen or companies like that to understand where exactly your brand stands vis-a-vis your competition in the industry. Media district is a very small and I'll not say it's a new thing. It's more of a tool for PR agencies to understand for a particular brand that if that particular brand is in the top three brands whenever they're speaking with a journalist. So while today's communication professionals are tech savvy and trend focused, the profession still concentrates on right messaging, creating the strategic narrative, right, identifying the right audience, right messaging, the timeline. Those are really, really important apart from being tech savvy and trend focused, because the DNA of a profession has to remain the same. So today is also the line is blurring in between traditional outreach, video production, event development, brand marketing, media planning and buying, as well as content creation and influencer strategy. When I say influencer, it's more to do with KOL, key opinion leaders, bloggers, YouTubers, those. But this blurring line has also given rise to a lot of new challenges, like Yadav sir has earlier said. Digital and social media, maybe it's very helpful in reaching out to a wider audience at a very shorter span of time. But in terms of the authenticity of the news is very difficult to understand. I will still say print media is more authentic because it goes through multiple checks and balances. Whereas in social media, I mean, the checks and balances are not there. And so there is another issue that in social media and digital media, there is a huge aspect of paid media. And when there is paid platforms, paid campaigns have been done, there are multiple instances where brands have actually used social media platforms and paid campaigns to hit out to their competition. So that is the issue which will always remain with digital and social. And as professionals, as consumer of news, one has to be that much mature. What kind of news you have to consume, what kind of news you have to forward share with your other larger section of your friends and colleagues. The most widely used communication tools used to be press release. Now it's tweets, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts. To give you an example, now, like 7 to 8 years back, whenever I used to go to particular publication house to pitch for a story, and as I said, if the story is compelling enough for someone to carry it, probably maybe the next day newspaper or maybe within 1 week the print newspaper will carry the story. And if you've been lucky enough, maybe that particular news can get carried in the online version also within 1 week. But now is the time when you're going to pitch for a story, and the pitch is right. If the journalist has taken the story, the first story has been broken by the Twitter handle of the publication house. Second, by the Twitter handle of the journalist. Third, it's already there in the website. If you've been lucky enough, it will be in the blog also. And by the time the next day's newspaper actually carries the news is already all over. So that is a kind of depth and widespread reach social media has. But as I said, that each tool has its own limitations. Twitter had its own limitations of alphabets. Facebook has its own limitations. So as professionals, one has to understood how to this particular specific set of different tools for different type of messaging. So as I said, the industry has gone through a radical shift because of data, wider age of internet, and growth of smartphones. And I've already talked about it. I still feel I may be an old school professional. I still feel traditional media is more authentic compared to social media because of multiple things that there are not checks and balances, and also the government rules and regulations, although it's been setting up, but still it has got long way to go. So just to sum it up, for young professionals coming to communication professions, especially into corporate communication and PR professionals, first thing is upskilling, reskilling, and you have to be mature enough to forget the earlier learning also, because this last 2 years there are a lot of things which has got obsolete. Understanding of digital, being tech savvy. When I say tech savvy, as I said that what exactly can be done in, say, Insta. Like Insta can be used for photographs, that is the general perception, but it can be used for Insta Live also. Facebook can be used as Facebook Live also. Twitter chat has got its own merits, and similarly like podcast. I have seen multiple spokesperson who are very reluctant to face camera, or they're camera shy. They are very much comfortable in podcast, and after 4 or 5 podcasts, they are confident enough to face the cameras. So that is the kind of tools one has to, as professionals, have to understand where to use, how to use, and what are the limitations. Being creative, as I said, that it's very important. And lastly, new age content strategy, which I spoke earlier, that whenever anyone is creating a larger article or a feature, one is to keep in mind how to customize them to make multiple tweets, or maybe a blog, or maybe a LinkedIn post, without losing the relevance, or without moving away from the messaging, is something which is very much required. To sum it all, these are the skill sets young professionals has to pick up. And with that, I'll end my presentation. I hope I was not boring enough and made some sense.
Not at all, sir. Not at all boring. Rather, thank you for reinstating the fact that content is the king. And in the digital age, you very aptly placed the new age content and clubbed it with creativity can do wonders for the brands. Thank you once again for your insightful presentation. Now, we move to the next segment of our webinar, wherein I invite a global personality to deliver the keynote address. So today we have amongst us Dr. Hassan Mustafa, Dean College of Mass Communication, Program Coordinator for Bachelors of Mass Communication in New Media, Al Falah University, Dubai, UAE. Dr. Mustafa joined Al Falah University in 2017. Specializing in digital media, he has combined academic and professional work experience in the field of media and communication through his work at the Sudan Radio and Television Corporations for many years, in addition to teaching in many Sudanese universities such as University of Khartoum, Garden City University, and Sudan Academy for Communication Sciences and Media Training. He also worked at many universities in UAE and held senior academic positions. He presented many technical radio and television shows. He also designed the first digital news program in Sudan, participated in digitalization of radio, and headed the project of digitize the Sudanese radio library. He is a consultant of Sudan News Agency and a director of many of electronic radio stations. He was honored as an innovator of smart radio. He published many books in the field beside refereed research studies and participation in conferences related to the digital field. He is also involved in several UAE TV programs in the field of digital media, certified reviewer at European Journal of Educational Research and an International Journal of Social and Humanities Invention, editorial board member of Buhud, the Researchers Arabic Journal. He will address the gathering on the topic Challenges of Media Studies. Over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for this fully informative introduction, which I didn't expect it will be long as it was. But I think that it's in the same aspect of this very useful, let me say, media rally. Because when you used to have like this webinar for a lot of time, I think like 75 days, if I'm not wrong, that means this is a lot of, this is a rally. I call it media rally. So I'm very grateful that I have been invited to this such a wonderful event. And I believe that in the sharing of knowledge, That's something which make our digital era unique, that we share our knowledge in this regards. I'll try to be very concise and very short in my presentation, as all the previous presentations were in the same field. And I'm very glad to attend the previous one, which is in the same field, as I said, and it helped my presentation very well. And it's a very good introduction to what I'm going to handle in this presentation. So I'm talking about the challenge of media studies in two aspects. The first one for the educational aspect, and the other one for the research aspect as well. And that's why I try to make a visual, let me say, indication for what I'm going to handle. But first of all, let me try to have what we can say a general proverbs in the media field. And the first one and the second one, which has been invented by Professor Amanda Lotes, she said that media industry operations become a lens for making sense rather than the site of the study. And then she said that I'm not sure that industry workers recognize that academics have insight that can be of value. That means, if there is any conflict between the educational part and the industrial part of media, this is a very crucial question, because most of our media students, they may find some kind of, let me say, differentiation between the courses that they have and the real media industry in the reality. And I'm going to be more detailed in the next slide, but let me say the most controversial word, which is being mentioned by Marshall McLuhan, the one who some people called him the father of the media or the father of communication. And by the way, this is also one of the great challenge for the media and communication. Most of the theories which is being raised for the communication and media are being invented by people who are not working in the media industry. For instance, Marshall McLuhan, he is a specialist in English literature. He has nothing to do with communication, by the way. He has nothing to became a very famous scientist in the communication field. And that's why I always say the media is like O negative blood group that can donate for everyone and also receive. So it's kind of generosity, let me say. And also technical determinism. It's one of the greatest theoretical says in the communication. But if you notice that I mentioned the Marshall McLuhan, the word the medium is the message, while the famous one is the medium is the message. But he made it the media is the message. And massage, you know, the word massage, what is the meaning of the massage? That means it's manipulating the audience minds, and so that, and he has a very nice explanation for this when he said, the medium is the message itself, as a thief when trying to stole something from a house, and there is like a dog watch, and he gave him like a piece of meat. So the piece of meat is the message. which means from the main aspect, which is the thief himself. So if we have some kind of questions here, let me say media thoughts. Do you need a degree? This is a very important question for our students in the academia, the academic part, always. And we have a specialization, which we call it new media or digital media. And sometimes the parents or the employers or the students themselves ask, what is that? And I just simplify them to them. Do you have a Snapchat account? And then he said, yes, then you have new media. So this is as simple as it is. So then, okay, I know how to deal with Facebook. I know how to deal with Instagram. I'm a professional in the Snapchat or TikTok. So do really I need to have like a communication degree, bachelor degree in media or bachelor degree in new media? This is very important question to them. And why is that being raised? Because many people, they may think practicing media is only practical part, while there is a scientific. I mean, if we would like to design, like advertise for any kind of product or service, some people, they may say that, well, I'm a professional.
I think we are facing some technical issues there.
What about the visual identity? Do you know something about this visual identity? And what about the biometrics, which go on to influence future behavior? So, which is inspired experiments which isolated the
I think sir is facing some technical issue there. I can't see him in this session. I think he's got disconnected.
Yeah, I think he's got disconnected.
But he will rejoin, not an issue. Hi, joined.
Yes, he is there.
I'm sorry that
No, that's okay.
This is one of the problem of the digital era. Anyway, so in regards of this, do we need really to have this degree? So we need to convince our students that the media, it's not only professional, it's not only practical, it's also science. So we have to combine between science and the skills as well. Anyone can design, as I said, but not anyone can be creative enough to pass the message that we need from this kind of design. And also, how could I, let me say, format the tweet or the post on the Facebook or in Instagram or in LinkedIn? And sometimes when you see people in LinkedIn, when they are telling some kind of personal stories, some people, they are comment to them that, wait a minute, this is not a Facebook. Why? Because he doesn't know the difference between these platforms and how he can use these platforms in the professional way. And that cannot come unless you be, as I said, in the academia plus the professionalism. If we go to the trend, people are now searching the trend, whatever it is. So what do you mean by the trend? And how could I be at the top of the trend? Some people, they are using some kind of, let me say, wrong ways to do that. And all we are suffering from a huge number of and useful information which is being spread in these platforms. Also, the combination with the IT, and I'm very glad to attend the latest presentation, which focus on that way. And this is a very good point, because if there is any media institution which is not being digitized yet, that means it's outdated. Now you cannot play any kind of 1 inch or 2 inches for the TV, or 35 or 16 mm for the telecinema tapes, for instance, or even for the real tapes for the radio. So you have to be digitized. Digitization now, it's a must. It's not kind of, let me say, luxury. No, it's not. You have to be digitized, so that you have to be inside this world. So you have to learn this kind of digital skills, so that you will be more influencer in this media field. And there is also another word that I'm saying: mass communication versus mass communication. So mass communication, that's what we have seen these days. And I'm very sure that you know what I mean. If we come to the conclusion of the challenge, we have a lot of challenges, but I may say that there is a 5, which in my opinion is very important. Number 1, for the academia part, is a curriculum. Curriculum, you know that technologies are very rapidly and constantly developed. So if we are not updated with this kind of rapid technology, then we will be outdated. And when I said we'll be outdated, because we are going to teach something that it's not in the real life. When we are talking about theoretical, let me say, I'm going to explain this later, but when I'm talking about some kind of theories that it doesn't fit for our current situation, for the present, and even for the future. So this is useless. So we need a dynamic curriculum. But unfortunately, we are, let me say, restricted with the regulations of that. If you want to update your curriculum, so you have to wait till you graduate your students after 3 or 4 years, then you change the curriculum. This is, I think, it's unfair with the media studies. The media studies, it's not a dynamic. So you have to be more convenient when you are talking about these new technologies. And you see the competition between all these platforms, Facebook, then Twitter, then Snap, Instagram, WhatsApp, even this WhatsApp. Now is very rapidly develop himself, so that they may guarantee, let me say, their feet in the market itself. So we need a dynamic curriculum. Also the regulations. We are talking about the regulations because we need to organize the use of this media in many aspects. And you know that if you would like to have a special law for this, it should become through a lot of steps to be finalized and approved by the legal authority. So regulations is outdated. It's not also compatible with the new technologies. And we said it's like between virus and the antivirus. So the virus come first, then the antivirus later. So technologies come first, then regulations come later. So there is a gap between regulations and the technologies as well. The competitions, and this is a very crucial part, because should I consider the personal account in the platforms, Face, Insta, whatever it is, should I consider this as a media institution, as a radio FM, or as a TV channel? Should I consider that? Because now there is, you know, in this era, the roles is being changed. I'm not only audience anymore. I'm not only receiver anymore. I'm also sender. So I'm producing a message as well. So that means I became a media institution, but under my personal account. This is number one. Number two, there is a competition with alternatives. Now, I'm pretty sure that 90% of the famous media presenters are not from the media field because they are famous in somehow. So I bring like an actor or some kind of businessman or some kind of others, and they are become very famous. That's why they are presenting, because the TV channel or the radio channel, they are searching and looking for the number of the audiences. So now, if I became a media student, do you think that I'm going to have a chance, a fair chance, to be in the media mill? This is very important question. Also, the competition with the students. I'm talking now as educators, because your students now are smarter than before. I mean, by using these digital platforms, smartphones, and they have very good knowledge about the digital skills. So the educator himself may be outdated, because the student himself, he knows how to deal with this kind of technology much more better than the educator. So we need also to educate our educators to be creative with dealing with this kind of digital skills and the others. And also there are some kind of wrong concepts when you are talking about the journalism. All the thoughts go for the political side only. It's not like that. We have to also be aware about this, because when you provide like a journalism program degree, Bachelor of Journalism, most of people, they may think that it's kind of articles online or political issues, and they are not worrying about the other things. When I'm talking about the other things, now we have the big data, for instance, analysis. This is a very important field that most of journalists should know about it, because when you analyze kind of data, then of course you are going to outcomes, you are going to results. And also communication theories. Do these communication theories fit our current situation? I don't think so. When you are talking about the, let me say, gatekeeping, for instance, is there any gatekeeping? Does it exist anymore? And when you are talking about the magic bullet, for instance, and the agenda settings, all these theories, I think, need to be revised so that it may fit our situation and to be much more convenient to our students when we ask them to have their own researches. And also, when we come to research studies, you may find some kind of academic institutions are insist to, let me say, to restrict the titles of the studies. Most of the studies have like the impact of something on something, the influence of something in something. We don't need that kind of studies anymore, because this is, I'm going to say it's old-fashioned. Now we have to change. We have to focus on the predictive studies. What will happen in the future? Because now we have the data that may help us to format a big screen, a big picture that may lead to this kind of results. We are talking about the combination and integration between this media institution in only one screen. I mean the mobile, the TV, the cinema, and the the mobile, the cinema, the TV, all together now in one platform or one device, which is the mobile. So the new era could not fit with, I mean, the old paradigm could not fit with the new era. So we need new paradigm so that it's fit with the situation. I hope I didn't get much more than I should be, but thank you very much for this opportunity. And I wish this rally is being repeated more over and over. Thank you very much and congratulations for this event. It is really great to have it, and it's really it's honor to participate in this such kind of innovative, let me say, innovative way. And I think that's will make also the attendees are not getting bored by only one person. So there is a varieties and different aspects, which is, I think it's innovative and very creative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. And actually, the challenges highlighted by you are faced in media education worldwide. And we at GMEC are trying to address these issues by initiating deliberations amongst the media fraternity across the globe. And GSEC is one of the such steps which we are taking in that direction. So thank you so much for your support. Now I would like to inform everybody that our chief guest, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, is not able to join us. He's traveling and he's facing a lot of network issues. So we move to the last segment of the webinar, and we have two research paper presentations. Do we have the presenters here? Srinivas Tian?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Yeah, he will be presenting his paper on demand for dubbed films in Karnataka television channels. Over to you, Srinivas.
I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, you are. You can start. I just request you to stick to the time because we are already running late. So please try to, just wind up in 5-7 minutes. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Okay. Hello, everyone. New for everyone, but in Karnataka, it's actually new because in Karnataka, 1916, dubbed films was completely banned on the basis of a gentleman agreement. But now, until now, 1960 to 2012 and 2018, it was not telecasted or broadcasted any one single dubbed content into Kannada. That's why it was matter dubbing content. When it comes to the introduction, cinema has always been a part of our lives and a medium of entertainment. And Kannada cinema has 19 years of history. The majority contribute to the Indian cinema, and it's also one of the leading industry in South India. Kannada film industry as a dubbing issue, majorly opposition was pro-Kannada activists and the artist associations in Karnataka. There has been an unofficial ban on dubbed films in a decade. Kannada dubbing issues. Kannada film industry seems to facing a crisis over dubbing 2012 onwards. And 2014, it was a big conflict between the Kannada dubbing artists and cinema industry. It comes to the court case. The Supreme Court quashed the Karnataka Film Chamber's appeal against the dubbing, but a two-judge bench headed by the Justice A.K. Shikari and the Justice Ashok Bhushan inquired into the appeal and quashed it is even the primary level of investigation. However, the impact of this trend cannot be ignored. The period of COVID-19 pandemic, the dubbing cinemas is slowly shines in Kannada television channels. The review of literature, the demand for the dubbed English in the Telugu Tamil films in the regional market is amazing. The film that get dubbed in Telugu, Tamil, Kannada has resulted in an exceptional increase the number of studios from the market they never anticipated can yield such returns. From Indo-Asian News in 2016. The lockdown might have to allow the film bluffs to discover the regional films on the digital platforms. But interesting in the dubbed cinemas from the south, particularly Telugu and Tamil films, to has a mushrooming the parallel. The Brass 2019, the dubbing trend growing and telecasting and Kannada movies channels in the light of popularity, acceptability among the Kannada audience. It is true that India has come closer cultural like never and before. Kumaran. The basic question, the research question was, what are the consequences of telecasting dubbed films on Kannada television channels? And how did the Kannada audience receive this dubbed content? Because it's new for them. The objectives of the study is to explore the demand for non-Kannada production films in Kannada television channels and to understand the audience experience of cinema viewing on the small screen in Karnataka, to know the economical impact of dubbed cinemas in entertainment channels, to find out the list of TV channels telecast more dubbed films, to describe the point of view on dubbed cinema by the film directors. So methodology, I think the present study was both qualitative and quantitative methodology has been used to gather data from the researcher, interview and survey. The random sampling used to collect data. The population of the survey was who watch cinema on this small screen. A sample should at least view 2 dubbed cinemas in the small screen. The study is done in Bangalore, Karnataka only. The research used a sample size of 100 members. And we interviewed television channel heads, that means business heads, PRO, public relation officers, and the film society members and directors. 15 experts were taken for interview. So data analysis for that. So for question is, the age group 60 to 30 years old age group watch more dubbed cinemas. That means the majorities are 36% are 26 to 30 years watch more dubbed contents. And 58% student, that means majority of students are watching dubbed content in Kannada television channels and 28% from private employees. The majority of 86% are common language, the local language was Kannada. That's why they choose. The most of them watch dubbed films once in a week. At least when we are taking that person was watch a dubbed cinema once in a week. The 46% prefer watching dubbing films on Kannada TV channel. 30% watch sometimes. 26 say no. 26% lift the 26% supports lifting the ban on dubbed films in Karnataka, and 38 says no. Who supports lifting the ban on Kannada films in Karnataka? Kannada film, what they're saying is Kannada film industry is still in developing stage. It is hard to compete with others. By dubbing the original content, it will be lost. The film crew lost its jobs. The threat to our culture and society. And who supports pro-dubbing films in Kannada? They say it's a legal, that means legality. It's a competition. It's a right for the citizens to enjoy. It's a globalization. A Kannada audience will get a chance to enjoy movies in their own language. Okay. The sample preferred 50% national and 50% international film dubbed content in the Kannada. The most of them like to watch Telugu. The most preferred Telugu were 54%, and Tamil was 12%, and others. Dubbed films are telecast more in Udaya, that means local television channel, Udaya TV, 24%. That channel was telecast more dubbed cinemas. And Colors channel, 24%, and Suvarna at 20%, at 16%. Zee Kannada was regularly telecasting dubbed contents. And 50% of our samples was satisfied with the dubbing contents, and 55% are not. The satisfied says why they like the dubbing contents, because it was a popular star movies. It was a rich visualization using advanced technology and plenty of options to watch rather than Kannada. And non-satisfied says it was some cultural issues, lip not synchronized in the dubbing issues, songs are not really attractive, poor quality of dubbing version, and 52 request media houses to telecast dubbed films and 48 are not. That means 52% of public, that means audience, are requested media houses to telecast dubbed contents, and especially in the lockdown period.
Srinivas, I request you to come on the conclusions because we are running short of time.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Okay.
But this looks really interesting. I must appreciate. Very interesting study. Yes, please.
Sure, sure. Okay, when it comes to the conclusion, cinema plays a significant role in the society. Day by day, it's influenced the audience. Dubbing cinema has its impact on socio-cultural changes in the society. Everybody knows this. In the COVID-19 pandemic, Kannada television channels are slowly telecasting dubbed content like serials, cinemas, and programs, and gain more popularity and revenue also. Now, also they are continuously telecast the dubbed films and serials in the prime times like Saturday, Sunday, and weekly at least 5 to 8 movies per week. Rating are also good in number 4, 5 TRPs. I'm talking about 4, 5, 6 because 6 wasn't a good number for TRP. Sometimes it may be increased when blockbuster movies are dubbed in Kannada from Telugu or Tamil. Still, dubbing will not be common unless the audience start accepting even a small dubbed cinema. Television channel business heads are purchasing packaged dubbed films from the various languages. Advertisers are interested in dubbed films, demand for the dubbed films on the Kannada television channels. Okay, thank you. If any questions, can you please?
Thank you very much. This was really interesting, as I said, and I must appreciate the research methodology and everything went so well. I really liked the paper. Thank you so much. Now I invite the other presenter, Solanki Saha. She'll be presenting on Squid Games, Escape from Reality, a study of socio-cultural influence on youth.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes. Just a second. Can you see the screen?
Yes, you can just.
Yes. Okay. So Squid Game, everyone knows about Squid Game. Currently, it's a very popular trend. It was a original Netflix drama that was produced in South Korea and is a streaming phenomena. It was released nearly around September 17th, and within 2 weeks of time, the series became the most watched Netflix series in 76 countries. So moving on to the introduction, I'll start with the rise of the dystopian genre. It's basically when we were stuck in the houses and everyone turned to the screen or to digital screen to seek entertainment. And India had the world's fastest growing market of streaming. So like dystopian films allow for a commentary on the social and political events that are relevant in our society without directly referring to the current state of the affairs by drawing upon the parallel universe. Like it encourages a different way of thinking about gender, sexuality, and accepting of varying forms of identity and self-expression. So that's how dystopian became a very interesting genre. And while watching Squid Games, a lot of questions that arise in my mind that how did I didn't watch Squid Games at before, but then everyone was like, it's a really phenomenal drama. Please watch it. Please watch it.
Solanki, your voice, there's some disturbance and it's cracking also in between. So I would request if you can quickly just see if you can set up your mic and you can just come to the research. There's this hissing sound.
Yeah, there's a background. There's some event going on in the background.
No,
am I not audible?
Even the mic is not properly. If you're using a mic, it's not working properly.
It's a problem of the mic only.
It's the problem of mic.
Mic.
Just sum up. If you can remove it and then use it. If you are using a headphone or earphones, you can remove and try using. Just remove it and use directly from the laptop.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Now it's better.
Yeah, now it's fine.
So am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
So,
and just quickly come to the research objectives, methods, and the main findings.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So the objectives was to find the behavior of the audience after watching the show. So a lot of people before watching the show, they were like, they didn't like Korean drama. They, they thought of Korean drama as like something that was very romantic, cliche. But after watching Squid Games, a lot of people have started watching more Korean dramas and K-pop songs and all. it was a change in perspective. And then trends went on in Instagram about the dalgona coffee trend, and now in the Halloween a lot of more trends were done on Squid Games. Just a second. So yeah. So the research methods that I'm using are quantitative research methods. In this, I'll be passing a survey among the UG and PG students, my classmates and my fellow mates, and asking them to fill up the survey and see that what is the result. What I am actually trying to find is that there are a lot of people that I have seen myself who have the change in their mindset, and they are watching more K dramas and K-pop than they were before watching the Squid Game K drama. And a lot of people have started buying sweatshirts and merches of Squid Games just to fit in the trend. And it's like that's what I'm trying to find, is that before watching Squid Game they had a very different perspective about how Korean drama is. It's very cliche, very clingy, but after watching Squid Game people change their view, and they have taking in the Korean drama and K-pop culture more than ever. So that's all. Thank you everyone. Kamsamida.
Okay, so that's a proposed research. You're still doing it, right?
Yes, I'm still in process
Okay.
of it.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. I request
Thank
Professor Sajal Mukherjee to put his concluding remarks and sum up the session.
Okay. So, Dr. Mansavi, you have given me a very tough task. It is already 9:20. People are waiting and hungry. So I have to be, so what you are telling me and indicating that I have to be too precise, right? So that people are we cannot hold them from their dinner. So, okay, the great occasion of the day was confirming the Lifetime Achievement Award to Professor J.S. Yadav. That was a very, very commendable thing that Global Media Education Council did. And also invited Professor Yadav to speak on the subject of his domain area, which is research. And where he mentioned that he took us from a historical perspective, but main and moot point that he mentioned about the enrichment and empowerment of the society because of the communication, the way it's changing, and social media creating, and the people are sharing, exchanging information, ideas, talking about, and they are using different kind of tools from Facebook to everything, which leads to the areas of the research that we have to do is in terms of who are the user, reach, impact, what kind of content they are consuming. These are the scientific areas research that is open to us. And strategically, he is saying that we need to expand it to these various sectors like health, agriculture, management, education. These are the aspects and areas where we can do a better research. And yes, the COVID-19 impact on the children, their orientation, their thinking that we need to find out while confined at the home and taking online education, how they are changing from physical to the digital, what is the impact as happening on the social. That's the main moot point that we need to understand. And if we have to take any kind of action on the basis of the research, we must do that as an educator. That was the conclusion I drawn from the Professor Yadav's lecture. Bhaskar has given us a very good perspective of the actual real world because he was from the actual field and practitioner. So what he said that the pre and post COVID, there is a difference. And within 2 years, there's a paradigm changes that has taken place in the society where a lot of people have become tech savvy, whether it is 60, 70, 80-year-old person to a younger, yes, they were adapting to the technology, that's for sure. But it is also the age 50 plus, 40 plus age group who were laggards. they have changed, they have adopted to the new technology, because they have to be, and they are doing every from social communication to transacting their financial online to changing everything they are doing. And this has given the scope, more scope for the PR professional, corporate communicator to create their own people and the followers, that they want to win the mind of the person by interactive. It has become more interactive, and you can do that. You can achieve your goals of creating large followers based on the what kind of narratives you are giving, what kind of creativity you are bringing, and what kind of content you are sharing in various media platforms. Everywhere it is different, and this also is giving challenges, and people are becoming very creative. So as it is a good tool, it is also taking into consideration that there are reverse process can also happen. So you have to be more vigilant, more adapted, and more reactive to whatever is happening. So that is what is happening in the actual practitioner world, and which is opening up new avenues for PR. For students of media, there are more career opportunity. They need to be more tech savvy, which was Dr. Hassan Mustafa's the deliberation was on. That as an educator, we are our education, the challenges that we have in front of us, the education, the curriculum. We started with the curriculum, that we need to redefine our curriculum, because we have to adopt and incorporate all these technologies into what we teach to the student. And while teaching to the student, our educators also need to be upskill their work, their understanding, so that they can teach it better. Whether, and because as a journalist, previously, in the previous time, pre-COVID, I would say again, his job was to just to do an article, report an article. He writes an article, but today he has to amplify it also. So as a journalist, not only your writing skill, you also understand how the camera works, television, how the lighting works, what is sound recording, how to do edit. Also, he has to have an understanding of the social media, that how can he take it forward. So that was the deliberation of Dr. Hassan Mustafa. And if you look at the two research studies, one was on dubbed film of the Karnataka. Yes, OTT platform was using, okay, if I recall, the Star TV was earlier in mid 90s, was only giving the English program. And they were the first channel which got into the dubbing of Baywatch. The program was Baywatch, which was dubbed into Hindi. And the reason for dubbing was that it has got a production quality, it has got a storyline, which is not on the Indian television. But the acceptance of the audience was not there. Therefore, they went into Hindi programming. And Star has changed into from English to the Hindi channel to generate more revenue. Now, if you look at the OTT platform, where you have the Malayalam film, Kannada film, Tamil film, Bengali film, you look at any language, are seen all over the world. And it is not only the Indians, but the international audience is also watching it in their own language. We in India also watching Spanish movies, Turkish movies. So all these things are happening, and I'm good that the Karnataka audience has also accepted the dubbed film, because of the storyline, difference in storyline, production, acting, lighting, editing. They also understand. So there is a choice is going up. So when we saw that the conglomeration is happening, the messages world is becoming smaller. And as Solanki mentioned, the Squid Game has become a rage now, that people are buying cap with that logo of the Squid Game, their dresses, the t-shirt, the bag. So there is apart from the television, there is a business opportunity for the producer also. So if we look at in today's the discussion that we had, that there's a paradigm shift happening, which is giving a lot of opportunities to us, and we have to, in line with that, education, research, everything has to fall in that line, and we have to be more observant of what are the changes happening and how it's impacting our life. Thank you, Dr. Mansuri.
Thank you so much, sir. You summed it all so well. I'm sure it was a fruitful session for all the students present here. I take this opportunity to thank all the dignitaries for giving us their time and taking a GSEC a step ahead. I thank Professor J.S. Yadav, Professor Sajal Mukherjee, Dr. Hassan Mustafa, Mr. Bhaskar Majumdar. It was an honor to have you all here today. I thank Professor K.G. Suresh, President GSEC, Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary, Secretary GSEC, Professor Amrish Saxena, Vice President GSEC, Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey, Vice President GSEC. I thank each and every member of GMEC and GSEC for making this possible. I also thank all those who worked tirelessly to make the show a design, technology, and content success. Last but not the least, let me thank all those who spared time to attend today's webinar. I'm sure it was really interesting for them. We see you all again with another set of experts in Stalwarts on December 8, 2021. Till then, take care. Have a nice time.
Good night.